Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this live. This is the Red Letter. I'm Tara Palmeri. And as you know, as many of you have been following me for a long time, know that I have been covering this Epstein trial very closely. Epstein case, excuse me. There is no trial, unfortunately. The Epstein case, very closely. And as we know, the FBI has said case closed. And the FBI director, Kash Patel, made it very clear that he believes that there is no credible evidence to suggest that any other men were involved in the Epstein case. Now, I know that if he had actually looked through the FBI files, which, by the way, he admitted that he had never looked through the FBI files as the FBI director. And let's not forget that when he was on podcasts talking about Jeffrey Epstein having taken no time to actually investigate the case, not having spoken to any survivors, their lawyers, FBI agents involved. He had no knowledge of it, claimed the FBI director would know all about it. Well, he's right. This is the kind of case that the FBI would know about and he would have known about. He refused to answer whether he told the president of the United States that his name was in the Epstein files. This was a huge farce. It became a clown show. It was animated. It was wild. I'm going to go through some of the moments just bit by bit. I think this is the biggest one though, and it actually happened yesterday. And this is Senator Kennedy, okay? Hold on one
I've
second.
seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no.
Can you hear that?
For the information that we have
in the files,
in the case file.
Okay. That's not true. First of all, we know that because if you go to the FBI's vault, if you see those classified binders that Pam Bondi put forward, we know that Virginia Giuffre's depositions she wrote about being trafficked to men. Now, various names have been redacted. Some are named. Now, could the FBI investigate and continue and do their jobs to find out about these cases? Yes, they could. And what does no credible evidence mean? The FBI's job, when they see this type of tip or when they get this type of information, or they have a deposition, a testimony, she said this under oath, it is their job to go through phone records, to build a case, to go through bank documents, to go through the flight logs. I mean, so much of what we know about the Epstein case, because so much of it is redacted online, is from the journalists and the survivors who have been brave enough to tell their stories. And I think a lot of people keep saying, why don't the survivors say the names of the men they were trafficked to, right? Why don't the survivors say the names of the men they were trafficked to? Because they are afraid of the lawfare. They are afraid of defamation. They are afraid of saying those names and spending the rest of their lives in court, even if they are right. This is the world we live in right now. All right, I'm going to go through a few more of the most outrageous moments. I wish I could show them on the screen with you, but unfortunately, I don't think Substack has that quite yet. But let's go to, here's one. I thought this one was pretty brilliant from Congressman Moskowitz.
The president has, you've seen the picture of the woman's body with the writing and the president's signature. The president says that's not his. Okay? President says it's not his. The Republican colleagues say it's not his. The administration say it's not his. Will you be opening up an investigation into the Epstein estate for putting out a fake document with the president's signature linking him to the world's largest pedophile ring? Will you be opening that investigation instead?
On what basis?
On what basis? They literally put out a fake document, according to the president, with a fake signature. It's a forgery of the president of the United States signature. That's the basis.
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay. I look forward to that investigation.
I look forward to that investigation. Sure, I'll do it, says the FBI director, who actually never said it was a fake. Yeah, I thought that was pretty smart. Now, I saw there was a question about Jess Staley, who was at I believe he was at JP Morgan at the time. Hold on a second. I want to make sure. Jess Staley. So, a number of emails between Jess Staley and Jeffrey Epstein were revealed. And in those emails, Jess Staley is asking about a Snow White or a Beauty and the Beast while sipping wine, white wine to be precise, in his hot tub. Not his hot tub, Epstein's hot tub on the Zorro Ranch. Now, just for some context, the Zorro Ranch was where Epstein talked about creating a literal breeding farm to seed the world. Okay? Jess Staley had to step down from his role at Barclays, but these exchanges happened when he was at JP Morgan. And actually, the New York Times did a really great investigation into all of it and how much, Jess Staley, how much money Jess Staley gave Jeffrey Epstein at that time. And also, he admitted that he did have an affair. So he did not admit it was with an underage girl, but he admitted to having an affair. So he also had to step down from the bank. And by the way, Les Wexner had to step down from the Limited Company, which owns Victoria's Secret, which is a company that he created because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. And the FBI is not going to investigate that. A board decided that a man had to step down from the company that he created, but there's no credible evidence, nothing at all. Also, here's a question. Why not subpoena the victims? Why not have them come forward and testify? Because they would be safe testifying before Congress, right? Nope, that hasn't happened either. Okay. And that's correct. Just Staley, not Daly, he was named by Congressman Massey, who has been pushing for transparency. I'm gonna play that clip. Okay, how's that?
According to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jeff Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. You replied, according to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. According to...
Okay. I've reported on this story for a long time. I think I know who those men are, by the way. I certainly do. Actually, if you read a lot of the public information that's out there, you'll know who they are as well. But there's no credible evidence because I think the problem is that they just don't find the victims to be credible. They haven't, it's not that, well, clearly they don't find the victims to be credible. And they have no interest in actually following up on the information that these women have so bravely provided to them. Information that they testified, that they gave in depositions, by the way. All right, let's keep going. Everybody, hang on. I know this is all very infuriating. Here's a just wild, unhinged moment from Kash Patel. By the way, a man who, for a very long time, rode the Epstein wave of furor.
Is a child sex, all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done? information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Get up and run to the cameras where you want to go now. You be
33,000 pages, by the way, is nothing. Okay? They have hundreds and thousands of pages, by the way. And there's redactions all over them. You've seen them blank, blank, blank. But I'm just starting with the last thing because that's what I can remember. But let's just go over those words. All you care about is a child sexual predator. Wonder why. That is just insane. And yes, there has been so many failures. Going back to 1996, the Justice Department has turned their backs on these survivors. Maria Farmer placing a call to the FBI back in 1996, being completely ignored when she reported sexual abuse against her and her sister. Okay, then the investigation opens up during the Bush administration, and it goes all the way up to the Attorney General of the United States, okay? Alex Acosta is involved. And he gets a slap on the wrist, some time in jail with county jail with an ankle bracelet. And he's out in 13 months as a sex offender, which he compared to stealing a bagel. Yes, that is what Epstein compared it to. Disgusting, okay? And yes, the Obama administration did nothing about it afterwards. In fact, Epstein continued to have parties at his house. He hosted Prince Andrew and a lot of other luminaries, okay? And a lot of politicians spent time with people who were friends with him as well, as you'll see in my reporting that's coming out soon. Now, here's another part about it. It's true that Trump did actually arrest him in 2019. And this was seen as a huge break. And so many of the survivors were beyond thrilled that they had finally gotten some sort of justice. They hoped for more, right? And then they arrested Ghislaine. And that was seen as a sign that they would keep going, right? And you're right. The Biden administration did nothing. Once they had Ghislaine, nothing more. And this is what I come back to. This is a bipartisan story of corruption. The people around Jeffrey Epstein, many of them were Democrats, very prominent Democrats, celebrated. Okay? Trump was a Democrat then too, let's not forget. And this story is a story of the swamp, of the insidiousness of the power structure and how they protect each other. And that's the problem. And so, yes, the Biden administration should have pursued this. I sometimes wonder if Biden thought it was too messy and would take down a lot of his friends. I don't know. All right. I don't know that for a fact, but I sometimes wonder it.
I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, you've seen most of the files, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic?
Okay. Sorry, that's a replay. I will try to get you another one. Here's just like a flashback for fun. Here is Kash Patel.
And let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
It's way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is I mean,
No, that's under direct
That's from 2002, by the way.
control of the director of the FBI.
That's Kash Patel talking.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
So yeah, put your big boy pants. 200 days since Kash Patel has been sworn in as FBI director. He has yet to put on his big boy pants. His words, not mine. Let us see what else. By the way, I want to thank my producer, Eric, who keeps sending me these These clips, they are, every time you watch them, it's harder and harder to believe. I think for me, though, the idea that there's no credible evidence is just really, really difficult. Because I know that if the FBI wanted to actually put together a true case, they could do it. And in fact, I had stayed in touch with them over the years because I had done, you know, I've been doing reporting even during the Biden years. I did a piece on Epstein for Politico magazine, and I was told that they were continuing to work on this, that they were building leads, they were going through surveillance, they were going through documents. I mean, they have subpoena power. They have the kind of power that journalists don't have, right? But no, case closed. Nobody else was involved. Ghislaine Maxwell was, convicted of trafficking, but for whom, right? For whom? All those 1,000 survivors that the FBI says there are at least 1,000 survivors of Jeffrey Epstein. Trafficked to who? Only Jeffrey Epstein, right? All right. So yeah, just as a reminder, Thomas Massey seems to be ready to name names. He says there are 19 others said there are 19 others, at least. Yeah. Too messy for men. Good question. The problem is with this story, everyone is involved. And I hope you will, I hope you'll stay with the channel. Hope you will keep subscribing to the Red Letter. Tell your friends about it. I've got some more reporting coming out. I will tell you this, that I have been talking to the survivors, and they are furious. And they're not giving up, by the way. They're going to keep making noise, and they're going to go directly to Congress. They're going to play the games that Congress plays. I don't know if you remember this from the other week, but Marika Chartouni, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, tried to lobby Republican Congressman Harriet Hageman of Wyoming, who took Liz Cheney's seat, and tried to get her to sign the bill that would compel the Department of Justice to release the files. She said she already voted for it. She didn't. Well, I just wanted to let you know that they're not giving up anymore. They're going to keep lobbying, pressuring, and they're going to do something that they do, an old game in Washington: opposition research, and find out exactly why all of these politicians would vote against releasing the files. Do they have some tenuous connection to Jeffrey Epstein? Do they have some reason why the files might embarrass them or show how close they were to people around Jeffrey Epstein? Are they protecting people that might be helping their state, might be helping them? Well, the Epstein survivors are on it. So stick around. I'm going to continue reporting on them and how they are striking back. And I think it's war for them. It's war. And yeah. All right. Thank you to everyone who tuned in at the last minute. I just had to jump on. It is 4:50. I'm going to go on to my YouTube channel. I wish I could do both at once, but I haven't figured that out yet. The team is still working on that, but I'm going to go to my YouTube channel. I'll be taking more questions there. And you can find me at Tara Palmeri. I'm on YouTube. Please subscribe. And of course, send this to your friends. Be well.